Yeah. Well, I mean, it gives us off track, but I do have another question.
Yeah.
And that is, how's your adjustment been to, well, you know what, not even just St. Louis Park, but Minnesota as a whole, because it must have been a little bit of a culture shock to come from LA to Minnesota.
Climate shock, too.
Climate.
Yeah, I was just
Unfortunately,
So-
a climate shock.
like 80 degrees to -10.
You know, in I gotta, again, keep it real with you. We moved to Minnesota because we heard all of the amazing things about the cost of living, the quality of life, and how like Minnesota ranks at the top in all of those categories, including like schools and education, healthcare, and all of these things. So the first 2 years were fine when we moved here, and then George Floyd happened.
Yeah.
And that really upended all sense of like security for us, because we moved here because we thought this was the safest place for our kids. So watching what we saw with Floyd, my heart just dropped, because in Minnesota no longer felt safe. So that adjustment was really tough for me.
Mm-hmm.
I can't lie, because I'm like, man, we saved money, we bought a house. This is the safest place in the world for our kids to be. And then to watch what happened to Floyd, definitely my heart dropped. So that was tough. But then right after that, the pandemic really started to pick up.
Yep.
So now things are really starting to feel a little more normal.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't say normal is a relative term. But I'm starting to see like that light of the why we moved here.
Yeah.
Things are really starting to fall into place. The weather's not changing. That's the one thing I can't change. I have no control over.
Yeah.
But things are starting to fall into place. But it was looking bleak for a while for me. We were considering making another move and moving to California after Floyd, because I live in Minneapolis. It happened right in my backyard, essentially, and we were part of the protests and some of the uprisings. And I thought more good would come from it, regarding policy change. But we haven't seen that yet. So that's also been kind of disappointing. But that was the one kind of roadblock, and a big one, to the adjustment for me. Yeah.
And like, I've had friends who like live down there in the like Minneapolis area who like, when that happened, their parents had to like sit them down and be like, have the talk about it. And like I have other friends who like live like 2 blocks from where that happened, and like they had to like also like board up their windows after that, because of like how dangerous it was for them. Not just as like black people living in like that area and like in like the US, but because they were like right on the outskirts of like all the riots and like all that was happening. And
all the scary times.
That was a scary time for them, and for me too, because like I didn't know how that was gonna happen, but or like how they were gonna work through it, but they made it. They're still here. Those boards are down, so that's the good thing.
Still a lot of work to be done. But
I mean, I've always have a very unique perspective when it comes to policy work, because I work in politics, and I completely agree that nothing has changed after George Floyd. And I have my reasons as to why, and I have my solutions to that. But I think one of the main things that I've always noticed is a hesitation to quick change. Not change generally, because I personally believe that people want change, but it is quick change that always scares people. And I do see that when working in policies all the time, because they'll always give 50% of what someone wants, if 50%, and then not give anything else, because that's too much right now. And I think that when it comes to George Floyd and the whole movement in Minneapolis, one of the biggest reasons that not a lot changed was, one, it's inherent, and two, people are scared just across the board. Some people have, reasons to be scared living in Minneapolis as a black body for one reason. And then there are white people who are scared in the suburbs for different reasons. But I think that's one thing I've noticed, so I agree with you.
Yeah, so I felt unsafe for a few reasons. It's obviously police serve and protect. And I had never had a negative interaction with police officers in Minnesota, and I still haven't, since Floyd. So I was kind of naive to maybe some of their practices before that happened. And then after, kind of peeling, I heard about Philando Castile. But after peeling, Floyd really peeled the curtain back around, how policing works in Minnesota. So being a black body here, obviously I started to feel very unsafe. Yeah, for sure. Heavy topic.
Yeah, definitely is. No, it's a free-flowing conversation. That's the point.
Yeah.
But our last question, then we could probably talk for a little bit more, unless you have to go or you have anywhere to be.
And we can also probably, I think there are 2 more sauces we can.
Oh yeah, well, we should probably get one of those
at least the
sauces
next
going
one
right now. Yeah.
And you can introduce the next topic.
The next question that I have was, how have you been interacting with the student body when you've
It's gonna be strong.
Don't pour a lot, don't kill him. How have you been interacting with the student body since your arrival at St. Louis Park?
So I came here from an elementary school, and I quickly realized that elementary kids and high school kids are very different. The elementary kids come to you daily. They want their hugs, their high fives, their acknowledgement. High school kids, they don't want any of that, really. They want to go to class, interact with their friends, and kind of be to themselves. So I had to work my first few weeks to build those relationships and be as visible as possible. So I've kind of prided myself since I've been here on being the administrator that's really visible, whether it's in the hallways, football games, basketball games, cafeterias. And I think because of that, I've been able to really gain some positive relationships in the building. One community in particular, and I just want to shout them out, that I've built some really positive relationships with, is our Somali Muslim East African community. Really built some positive relationships with a lot of those students, and it's been nice, especially our 9th and 11th grade Somali East African and Muslim students, because that's primarily the grade that I work with. So a goal of mine this year is to not just build strong relationships with them, but our white students, Hispanic students as well, building positive relationships with them also.
Yeah. Have you gone to any? You talked a little bit about you going to school events. Have you gone to any clubs during school? Maybe leading you on here.
I haven't been to any club meetings outside of SOAR. I've been to a few of their meetings, but I haven't been to any other ones. I've been to a football game, a tennis match, a few basketball practices. As a basketball coach, I'm looking forward to basketball season.
Oh, yeah.
I will be at a ton of those games, but no club meetings outside of SOAR.
I would say, though, our basketball team was pretty bad last year. So
keep it real.
Don't get your hopes up. Personally, and we won 2 games, and we had a lot of people leave.
We wish you the best of luck, is what he's trying.
Varsity won 2 games.
Varsity and JV both won. No, not combined. They won 2 games each. So far, fun fact. The St. Louis Park boys basketball program has not won a basketball game in the year of 2023. Which hopefully,
looking at my calendar.
new coach. Hey,
Coach
Arsenio's the coach
tomorrow.
now. Coach B left. I think he was a great coach with the people that he coached well with. Like my freshman year, our team, it was like there wasn't a lot of very gifted players.
Mm.
I'm gonna say that there weren't any like
Careful.
huge players. There weren't any like crazy fast players.
Mm.
Any like athletic players. There weren't like players who like if you gave them a shot, they're gonna knock it down 9 times out of 10.
Mm-hmm.
But Coach B took what he had and he made it work, and they were a good team. They won like I think around half, maybe more of their games, and they beat some good teams. But they were in contention with like every team they played.
Why do you think they struggled last year?
Last year,
They still had Coach B, right?
yeah, I think it was. I have my personal preferences, or my like personal reasons why. First of all, like this was like the most gifted team we've ever had. It's like our whole starting line, not even our whole varsity team, including our 5'7" point guard Keegan, could all dunk. Like it was like we like 4 players 6'4" or taller, 5. 5. That's crazy. And it was a like community thing. It was people would put each other down instead of lift each other up. Kind of. It was when things went bad, they were like, you know, I'm in it for me at the end of the day. To be honest, some of them, like, if they don't get a basketball scholarship, they probably won't be able to go to college. And so it's like I feel like, have the mindset of, if we're going to lose anyway, I'm going to make it in a way that benefits me still.
Right.
And so they took the quick shots, and instead of swinging it the like extra time, they would dribble down, take a shot, and then they're back on defense. So even though they still scored a decent amount, like they didn't have any crazy low scoring games, but they allowed so many points because the other team was always on offense, because they just never let the ball rest. And there's more to it, but I think I don't want to share about people's personal lives.
Yeah.
But like, it's a complicated issue. I have a whole speech that like I can talk about for like days that I've told a lot of people, and I don't want to use up the whole time now.
Right.
But it's a new coach, it's a new environment, a bunch of new players. We had a few transfers. Like there's gonna be a bunch of players left too, graduated, some aren't playing, and so I think it's gonna be a new experience. And the people who are still there, like the twins, they've just gotten better. Like they've been practicing. They're both like 166, 165, 6'4". They're both freaks of nature, and like they're gonna be great. Like Vari can levitate. He can like jump to the ceiling. Now I feel like I'm not gonna name every person, but like I think there's the like ability for us to be good this year, but we have to be able to like reach out and take it.
Yeah, I went to I think practice last Wednesday, the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, and Arsenio was just doing great work. I feel like he's really trying to change that culture of selfishness, like you were saying.
Yeah.
And kids have kind of bought in. I think they'll take some lumps at the beginning because of schedule stuff. But I have high hopes for them this year because they are a talented group of kids.
Yeah, I'm excited. I am excited this year, to be honest. I do think it's gonna get significantly better.
Yep.
I also think that like it like ends up taking a hit on like school morale too, because like ninth grade, our like student section was huge. They were like the whole that side of the bleachers, it was full, packed to the back of the like wall, and like it like often extended over past the like actual student section.
Like flowed over also to like the opposing team.
Yes,
I've seen
and
that
like
a few times.
we had like parents of like people who weren't even playing, just like people who were just in the community come, because not only did they like win games, but they looked. I'm gonna use a quote from my dad here, and like he's a like old school basketball player, but like he came home from a game one time and was like, "That's real basketball." And I've never heard him say that about like any team except for like a few college basketball ones. And I think like the fact that like they could play the game the way like people want it to be played and the way that works, and the fact that like they had people coming brings a lot to like them and to the school. And like last year I played 10th grade and JV, and there was no one. Like my 10th grade games I think had the most people, like the most spectators out of all the 9th grade, 10th grade, JV and varsity, because no one wants to come out to watch their basketball team get blown out by 25 points.
Well, I think Park is like such a pillar of the community. That people want to see them do well, and the second they start doing well, people just need a reason to come.
Yep.
You know, so I really want to see the basketball team do well, so the community can kind of galvanize around it. Because I think you're right about that.
I feel like the school is definitely like you're right, a pillar of the community. Like it's like which you don't really get that same thing outside of Park. Yeah, where Edina, you don't think of Edina for Edina
high school.
Edina High School.
So many schools.
Yeah, you think of Edina for like the rich area,
like the
snobby rich,
giant houses,
cake eaters.
Okay,
that's just. But yeah, that's what. Yeah, I'm just now realizing it. Like whenever I think of Park, maybe it's obviously because I'm biased because I'm a student here, but I do think of the school district.
Yeah.
And you know, it's being new here and just seeing how people have so much respect for the school and the community. Like, I won't say it's overwhelming, but there's definitely like high expectations just across the board, which I think is a good thing.
Yeah, I agree.
Nobody's got anything else. We are at an hour and 12 minutes.
So maybe take the final sauce and
let's get to this
Carolina
Reaper.
The Carolina Reaper.
Wrap it up.
Carolina Reaper, wrap it up.
I might dip it with
It smells like it
does.
It's
like
putrid.
You're gonna want
it. Like hurts the nose just to smell it.
We're just gonna like right here.
Dabble.
We're just gonna dap a lip. Just like
Oh,
nice one.
Put some right there for me.
Like, shoot. That's all you're gonna need. Like, trust me.
You could break your vegetarian habit.
I want to see you guys' reaction.
You know what I mean? That's why I asked you to fill up my water, because
let's give we probably should have done this. Let's give a shout out to Forrest, who's been doing a lot of work in the background, making this possible. Thank you.
That
means a lot.
Oh yeah.
Whose idea was this originally?
So
that's actually
a funny story we should have talked about. So you want me to tell? Sure.
Okay.
I originally came up with the idea because for Echo, one of the points that is asked of us is to do a multimedia point, which can be a podcast or what are the other options for it?
It's like podcast and then like a 3-episode show.
Yeah. So. I came up with the idea. I was like, let me sit down with Park's new vice principal, cool guy. And then Finn comes in. He's like, I want to do wings.
Wing review.
Wing review.
Hot ones.
Huh?
Oh, Who said that?
Oh, sorry.
That was Finn.
Finn. Yeah,
Finn came in.
Finn came in. He was like, "No, I want to do
We should
wings."
do a wing review. Yeah.
And I was like,
What
"No,
if-
I've already been working on this with Thomas." And then we sort of went back and forth. He was like, he
What
looked
if
at
we
me.
combine?
He looked at me. He goes, "Why don't we do both?"
Yeah.
And he was like, and
Nice.
it was funny because we basically did hot wings, but we came to it without even coming to the conclusion that we were doing hot ones.
I need a
my
bigger
bad.
dip of the.
Doing hot ones. But yeah, we've decided that this is really fun, and we want to do this with like different meals with different
I'm touching
teachers
that
and
one.
community members and such like that. Yeah.
No,
I wanna
it's
feel it. No,
genius.
but that-
And the
that wasn't
setup
that
is
bad.
perfect. And I've talked to some staff members. I just let them know that I'm doing this today. And there are a few who'd be really interested.
Yeah,
in-
we.
in
I don't know if we.
whatever it looks like.
Yeah, I don't know if we.
I've
We
talked to
shouldn't
some
say
people
who
too.
we're gonna do next.
Yeah.
But,
The
yeah,
next one's gonna be. It's gonna be.
it's gonna be a
interesting
good one. But yeah, I'm glad to hear that people were interested. In it. As a matter of fact,
And
when
we're
I.
thinking of making this a series too, so there's gonna be like.
Oh yeah, when I went to.
even after this next
Oh, you
one,
guys
there's
gonna
gonna be
upload
more.
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, we'll edit. We're gonna edit first, and then it'll go. I don't even know how it gets uploaded, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't either.
That's
We'll figure out.
We'll figure it out.
What format? Or what, where would it be uploaded to?
I
Just on
think it's
the
on.
Echo.
I think of the
um,
Echo page.
Yeah.
The SLP Echo. It's
Got it.
yeah. It's the if you just look up into like Google SLP Echo, it's like the first thing that
Yeah.
pops up, and it's just all the stories and
Okay.
I think there's a link there to go to podcast, but
But yeah, that was how we came up with it, and
yeah.
we haven't we've not landed on a name yet, but we're
Mhm.
thinking SLP Foodies. We'll
Or
see.
Parkfoodies.
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 Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
We'll see.
Well,
Yeah, but
the inaugural one. So I
Yeah.
appreciate
This is the
that.
first
Hey,
one.
This-
Dapping y'all up. Great job.
Most meaningful one. That's why.
Hey, appreciate y'all. Thank you.